Going on YouTube, Clover Bells here, back with another Scarlet Violet team building video, and today we're going to be centering around Roaring Moon. So, in our other team building video with Iron Hands, I know there was a Roaring Moon on that one, but this one I specifically also wanted to just really pinpoint around building around the Roaring Moon, right? So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to look at Roaring Moon stats, just give a general breakdown and see how we're going to support it and see, just what in fact we can put on this team to counter. Not really counter, but at least deal with the rest of the popular meta stuff, right? So Roaring Moon, again, very physically bulk, not physically, but a lot of HP and a lot of special bulk. That's what I meant to say. Good physical attack, a little bit weak in the defense side. So this is why sometimes you might see Arcanine here, along with Will-O-Wisp. Okay, because the Intimidate support and the Will-O-Wisp will reduce physical attack damage, which means Roaring Moon, the physical defense is mitigated, right, in terms of incoming damage. So this is why you might see Arcanine on a lot of Roaring Moon teams, but we're gonna go a different route this time. But in terms of speed, it's a very good speed stat here, 119. Very, very fast Paradox Pokemon, which is why it's a very popular choice to try and start your climb in Series 2, right? But then from here you have to consider some of the weaknesses like Iron Bundle and then Fluttermane, right? So how do you counter, not really, well, how do you deal with those weaknesses? I never want to use the word counter, okay? But a way to deal with those weaknesses, and then how do you still have enough for, other common meta threats, right? So from here, what I like to do is after I pick a Paradox Pokemon, whether it's Roaring Moon or Great Tusk or Iron Hands, I like to try and go for that Fire, Water, Grass core. And, we'll give that a template for a general team building guide, just for newer casual players to follow in terms of a template, in terms of building a squad for Series 2. But we can pretty much just do that here. So I like we said, we did say the Arcanine, but I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm gonna say Volcarona, okay? I'm gonna say Amoonguss, and the Iron Bundle will come here, and this will be the Fire, Water, Grass core that we're gonna be using along with Roaring Moon. So you might see a lot, you might see these four a lot on the same team, depending on the kinds of sets they want to run, but this is a starting point, right? So typically with these Volcaronas, you might make them supportive, go for a Struggle Bug, Will-O-Wisp, Heat Wave, and then some other move, right? Or you can even see an offensive set with Heat Wave, Giga Drain, right, and then Quiver Dance, right? Which is exactly what we're doing here, because the Iron Bundle, even though it has a Focus Sash, it just needs a little bit more damage in terms of team composition on the special side. So we're gonna have a little bit more of an offensive Volcarona, right? And that's how we're gonna use it this time around instead of a supportive set, which in Series 1 we actually used both kinds of Volcaronas, supportive and offensive, and that's what we're gonna do here. And the Volcarona will help us deal, at least resist the Fluttermane stuff. Bug coverage is really good against opposing dark types, but we're going to be also going for the Grass Terra here, and just not really dealing or not really having the bug coverage. So I think Giga Drain makes a lot of sense. This will help us against the bundle, so that's good options there. And then Quiver Dance is just very, very strong in terms of setup. There's not a lot of Murkrow anymore, so you're able to get away with this, and the Amoonguss will help you redirect attacks and be able to get off these Quiver Dances, right? So in terms of this, where do we go from here? So I still need another physical attack on the team. I see we have Roaring Moon and then a bunch of special attack hitters. So I still like Iron Hands here, okay? We used the Iron Hands and Roaring Moon together before, and I think it makes a lot of sense. You can technically go with the King Gambit here, just so that you can discourage incoming Arcanine Intimidates on the Roaring Moon. That makes sense. But I want to be a little bit more aggressive here with the Iron Hands. I just think it's a really, really strong Pokemon in this format, and it's on a lot of top cut tournament teams for a lot of good reasons, just because the amount of offense and the amount of bulk that it has, right? So Iron Hands comes again along with the Amoonguss, so now we have something, to play in Trick Room mode, unless if the opponent brings it, right? Then over here, I kind of want another key Pokemon that can deal more damage, right? Because this deals damage, this deals damage. I know this is going to deal damage. This is more support. This can also deal damage. Now here we can go a more supportive route. And this is also why you might see Arcanine here. But I'm going to still be more aggressive with this team, okay? And this is where we get the Sylveon at long last, right? So the Sylveon's coming finally, and this will give us a fairy type on this team. And you might say, well, where's the steel coverage come from? You'll see in a second. But We got Roaring Moon. We got a physical attacker with him in Iron Hands. We got a couple support options with the Amoonguss here and even the Iron Bundle. We have a lot of special attack pressure with Sylveon, Volcarona, and also the Iron Bundle. And this is also what's going to help us deal with some of the other common threats, right? But we'll explain what those threats are. But this is the 6 that we're going to be running, right? So Roaring Moon, Fire, Water, Grass Core, and then 2 fillers, just to have stuff against like the rest of what's running around. So this is the 6. So let's go ahead and reveal the GIFs. So here we go: Roaring Moon, Iron Bundle, Iron Hands. Okay, and then we go with the Amoonguss, Volcarona, and the Sylveon in the last slot. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to put on the movesets, the item choices, and then eventually the EV spreads and the Terra options. All right. So let's get onto it. Okay, so let's go back here to Roaring Moon. So like technically you can play this a lot differently, right? So what I want to do first is just get rid of the Iron Bundle. This is the easiest one, and it's pretty standard on pretty much a lot of Iron Bundle teams. Of course, you're gonna have Hydro Pump, Freeze Dry, Icy Wind, Speed Control Move, and Protect, right? And this will be like the easiest one in terms of like EV spreads with 253, 252, and then Timid Nature. And again, I always like to say Iron Bundle is important because very conveniently it has a speed stat of 136. Which very conveniently, as I said, outspeeds Flutter Mane by 1 point. And you can get the speed control on the Flutter Mane, click Icy Wind on it, break its sash if it has one, and then just have something like either Roaring Moon, Sylveon, or Volcarona just deal damage right back and potentially KO it, right? So that's the idea here with the Iron Bundle. Now that he's done, let's go back to Roaring Moon. So I like to think of Roaring Moon, you can play it a lot differently depending on how you want to do this. So you can do like a life orb set. All right, this is one idea. Again, not the only idea, where like you have something like Breaking Swipe, Throat Chop, Dragon Dance, right, and then Protect in the slot, right? So you can do something like this and then make it a bulky set, right? So if you decide to go this route where you don't have Tailwind, I would just put Tailwind on Volcarona, go like a supportive Volcarona with something like this, and then make the Roaring Moon even more offensive, right? So this way, you still have access to Tailwind, it's just on your Volcarona. But if you were to do that, just to like give you a little bit of a sample as an idea, right? Still go max speed, 171 is important. This is like, your Garchomp number. Not that you're running around still, but again, I'm just gonna go like maybe second bump here, right? So 185 to 187. So here's the second EV benchmark. And again, you don't know what EV bumps or benchmarks are, so make sure you comment in the video. I always explain what bumps and benchmarks are in our team building. But it's basically in the natured stat where the final stat number increases by 2 points rather than 1, right? And there's 3 of them within the natured stat. But if you don't know that, comment and I'll explain it more. But here's one idea, and then from here you can just end your number in a 9. So you can go to 199 here to optimize the life orb recoil, because you always want to end in a 9 with the life orb. And then from here you just have 24 EVs left. You just put 1 special defense, and then the rest just goes into defense like this, right? So this is like a very general bulky life orb set, okay, if you want to try and explore it, okay? But if you don't like it, okay, we're not going to run it. And then we'll just take away the Tailwind here. But again, I'm just showing you like options, right? So instead what we can do is just go with Booster Energy and just change this back to our Jolly set, right? And our typical Jolly spread, And again, just to keep in mind, this is like something, to jump onto the ladder with, and just so that you have a starting point of a team, right? I'm not saying like this is the be-all end-all team, of course. It's just something where like it's solid, consistent, something that I can use on the ladder in the beginning, and just to like get used to the meta and have something to go off of, right? In terms of like collecting data and see like where I can make adjustments in my play or my team. Okay, so we're gonna go Jolly here, and again, I always like to ask this during our coaching sessions, which I will advertise more at the end of the video. But what number do you want to reach in your attack stat where you don't succeed the speed number? So this way you can keep your speed boost in the booster energy, right? The answer is 1 less than this. So if you have 188, all you have to do is go to 187 like this, because now you have as much attack as possible, but still you don't succeed the speed number, and you're able to still get the speed boost from the booster energy, right? So that's how it works. Then over here you just have 36 EVs left. You can put 1 point in the HP and special defense because they're already triple digits. You don't really need so much, and then the rest just goes into defense like this, right? So that's the idea there. But in terms of movesets, yes, we are going to go Breaking Swipe. We are going to go Throat Chop. I do like them a lot. Now, you might say, what about like the acrobatic set with Terra flying? So you can do that. You know, it's on a lot of teams. But you notice that, you know, I don't have the intimidate option here, right? And so to compensate, what we're going to do is we're going to go breaking swipe roaring moon. Okay, that's one way to do it. Still keep the Terra flying type just in case we have the fighting move coming in. But again, still also have access to Tailwind, right? So this way you can go for your damage mitigation move and have like Volcarona, Iron Hands, and Sylveon be the damage dealers, right? Because what you're going to do here is like, look at Sylveon's physical defense, 65, not so great. Volcarona's physical defense, also 65, not so great. Okay, and then this one's okay. This one's very okay. So then what you want to do is actually make the Roaring Moon support these two homies, okay? So these two become your big hitters, okay? And then your Iron Hands can like also be a big hitter, but on the physical side. So that's why I wanted to play Roaring Moon like this, okay? And that, knowing that, you might even make it a little bit bulkier than this, right? Having said that. So you could even drop the attack stat like this and put more into the bulk, but it's not really necessary right now because Roaring Moon can still be like a good physical sweeper, all right? But that's my thought process when I was trying to like build this squad. Let me play the Roaring Moon a little bit differently than like it's normally seen. So then from here, again, and then you'll still have access to Will-O-Wisp here, by the way. So this way you have like another like physical move, another move to like help counter against physical attacks. So this way like Sylveon and Volcarona can still do the job along with Roaring Moon, right? So now the Volcarona can be a support mon, right? Even though it's offensive here with the Will-O-Wisp, and now the Roaring Moon can start hiding behind those, you know, burns and start dealing more damage, right? So that's the thought process there. So Sylveon, okay, we'll go here, and again, we'll still continue with the movesets before we do the EV spreads. But again, Throat Spray is the way, and then Pixelate, of course, Hyper Voice, you know, Terra Blast, Quick Attack. This will not be a Calm Mind set, and then Protect here. All right, pretty standard here. Iron Hands, Assault Vest. You know, this is going to be, of course, Fake Out, help set up those Tailwinds, help set up those Quiver Dances. I do like, you have two options here. Either you go Wild Charge here, where you have more base damage, but you have recoil, or you go Thunder Punch here, where you have lower base power, but 10% chance to para, right? So up to you. Again, for the sake of the video, I'll go with Thunder Punch. And then over here, same idea, Drain Punch, less power, but again, you have more recovery, or you go for more damage and more immediate pressure and go for close combat. Again, more power, but you'll drop your defense. So up to you. And again, for the sake of the video, I'll go with Drain Punch, right? But again, up to you. And you might say like, oh, here's your Fire, Water, Grass Core, here's your Dragon, Fairy. Now, can I get a Steel Pokemon out of this? The answer is yes. So what I'm going to do is go for Terra Steel here, and then go for the Heavy Sand. This is one of our tech options. Usually what we have here is like Stomping Tantrum for the ground coverage, for the Terra Poison Garganacles, for an opposing Iron Hands, but we have a way around that. Keep watching the video and see how we're going to get that ground coverage. Some of you might know the answer already just because, you know, you're in my Discord, but we'll keep that a secret until another timestamp in the video. But the Volcarona, you know, I really like this kind of set with Heat Wave, Quiver Dance, and Giga Drain. So now both of these moves are going to be hitting really hard, and you still have access to Will-O-Wisp. You can still technically go Protect here, right? What I want to do is go Life Orb, make this like a really more aggressive Volcarona, right? And you might have Protect as like a more optimal move, right, with the Life Orb set. But again, I just like Will-O-Wisp. I think it's so good, and it's just really important on something like this. But if you like Protect, definitely go for Protect. I like Will-O-Wisp. The Amoonguss, pretty standard, of course. You know, you can just go like Rocky Helmet. You can go Citrus Berry here for recovery. You can go Cobra Berry to resist opposing Roaring Moons with the acrobatics, right? So you have those options. You know, up to you. It depends on what you think is important. But for now, for the video, I'll just put like Rocky Helmet here, because I still think like opposing Mouse Holds is a threat. You know, other Roaring Moons, you know, we can chip them down a little bit. Arcanine, we can chip them down, especially if they go for Flare Blitz and take Rocky Helmet chip. That makes my life a little bit easier. But yeah, up to you. I gave you some good item choices. Rage Powder and Spore, of course. Then you have Clear Smog. Dondozo still running around a little bit, and Pollen Puff. The healing is really nice, especially if you have like Wild Charge Iron Hands, right? Where you're taking recoil. The healing with Pollen Puff is actually quite nice, and especially with like Volcarona with Life Orb, you're taking, you know, a bunch of chip damage. If you can heal that with the Pollen Puff, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? So Yeah, Iron Bundle we already did. But yeah, this is pretty much the move sets and the items. Terra options we'll do at the end. But yeah, now let's go back to the Roaring Moon and let's do an EV spread. Not Roaring Moon, Sylveon. Okay, so let's do Sylveon here. So basically, what we're gonna try and do in terms of like an EV spread. So of course we're gonna go modest natured, just so that we get as much special attack as we can, with Sylveon. This is one of our main special attackers, but we're still gonna go for bulk. But the first thing I'm gonna do is go for the first EV bump here, right? So here's 152 to 154. You skip 153. So here's the first one. I'll go here, but what I also want to do is reserve some EVs just in case I want to go for a certain damage calc, which we are going for. But I want to go to up to 191 like this. And the main reason is just to do a little bit of optimization against the Garganical Salt Cure damage. Because if you do 191 times an eighth, I believe it's about 23.87, right? And if I go to 192, now it's going to be 24 damage per Salt Cure, and I don't want that. I want to undercut that threshold. So let's go to 191. So this way it's a decimal and it'll round it down. So only 23 damage per Salt Cure chip from the Garganical. Then I have 268 EVs left to play with, and I'm thinking, well, what can I calc for it that's running around in the meta? And I know already, I am a fairy type. Goldango's running around. I want to survive a Goldango Make It Rain Life Orb damage. Okay, so here's what we do. We go into the damage calculator. We go to Sylveon here, and then we'll do a blank set, start from scratch. And the investment was 164. Okay, and I need to just go in here and go to Goldango. I'll use like a previous spread, just change it to like modest 252. So let me just delete this. Okay. And let's go like modest 252 with Make It Rain Life Orb, right? So this is it. And you can see it pretty much annihilates me, right? So like 127 to basically 148. But we can survive this. First of all, it's a spread move, actually. Yeah, let me just check that. So only up to this much. So how much special defense investment do I need? So let's take a look. So I'm going to keep going here and keep investing until I can guarantee my survival. All right. Shouldn't be a whole lot further. See, I'm already at 12.5%. If I want to have at 6.3, I think this is okay. So I'll leave it like that. Okay, so let me put 100 special defense here. All right. And by the way, normally you do your speed tier stat first, but because it's like so slow, I don't really have like a certain speed tier at the moment. But at the very least, I know I can guarantee live a Goldango Make It Rain with this stuff, right? So Life Orb, 252. No Terra option yet. That's okay. I think this is a worthy calc. And then from here, you might say, well, how much speed and how much like defense do I really need, right? So then from there, you can just put like enough, like about 84, just to have this 91 threshold, and then the rest can just honestly go into like physical defense like this. But then you realize, wait a minute, I can just do like another 80 EVs into my special attack, where I can reach the next bump. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing, right? So that's the other thing where like, if you didn't know like your speed stat, okay, you realize that, oh wait, I can go to the next one because I don't have a damage calc in mind and just do like this, right? So it has a little bit of speed, right? But I hit the second bump in the special attack and I can survive a Goldango Make It Rain, right? 6.3% damage roll. So, but that's my spread. And this is something like I can start with on the ladder. If I feel like I'm dying to like some other physical moves, I may take a little bit away from special attack, or maybe a little bit away from this speed, and then just add more in like defense and then see from there. But if I don't have that damage calc yet, because I don't have the experience of like playing on the ladder yet, then I'll just start with this. All right, that's the idea. Okay, moving forward, let's go to Iron Hands here. So the Iron Hands, couple things that I always like to do with Iron Hands. First of all, go to Adamant Nature. I like 12 speed here, okay, just so that I have the faster fake out Iron Hands, which does come in handy, believe it or not. So make sure you keep that in mind, because some Iron Hands, if they want to round out their EV stars, they'll have like 4 in their speed. But then, remember, you're like kind of speed tying like King Gambits and other Iron Hands like this, right? So what you can do is like either go to 12 or 20 and then just outspeed them, have the faster fake out, have the faster fighting move, especially against, King Gambit. That's always important. But yeah, I just go like just like this. All right. And then from there, what I want to do is, again, the same thing I was doing with Sylveon, optimize for the Salt Cure damage. This will already do that, but I want to go to the next threshold instead of 20. I want to go to 29. So let's go to like 239, right? And if you do 239 times an eighth, right, that'll give you another number, right? If I just do my calculator real quick, 29.87. That's what I meant, not 24. 29.87. If I go to 240, it'll be 30. I don't need to do that, so I'll keep it like this. And then at the very least, I'll start with the second bump, right? With the iron hands. This is the first one at 187. Let's go to 188 here. This is the second benchmark. And then I have 264 EVs left to play with. So what kind of damage calc would I look for? I can tell you two right off the top of my head. I want Fluttermane Moonblast, and I want Great Tusk Headlong Rush. Those are like the two most popular threats to Iron Hands in terms of like damage, right? Especially on the special side. I'm definitely going to lead a lot of special defense investment because even though I do have an Assault Vest, Fluttermane Moonblast hits hard, especially with choice specs. And that's exactly what I want to calc for. So let's go ahead here. Let's go to Iron Hands. Let's do a blank set. Again, 76 investment. All right, level 50, by the way. All right. The attack doesn't matter, but I'll put it anyway. Adamant. And I have an Assault Vest. Okay, cool. I have an Assault Vest. And I'm going to go with Fluttermane here. A standard Fluttermane. I already have it imported. I'm just going to change this to choice specs. All right. Choice. Oh, it didn't register. All right. Come on. There you go. Choice specs. All right. And I'm going to put Moonblast down here. Right there. So now I have it. And now what I'm going to do is go back up. Look at the percentages. And you can see very doable, right? 75%. But again, I have no investment yet. So that's not bad. So let's see how much I need. And again, I still want to have an even number just to maximize my Assault Vest. So I'll be mindful of that. But let's see what's the bare minimum that I need to survive this. Choice specs, Timid Moonblast. So let's see. All right, 62, 43, 44, 25, 18. All right, 84, almost there. This will actually cut it. If I want to guarantee it, I'll go to 100 technically. Can I even do that? Yes, I can. So this will do the job. But again, I realize that 101 is an odd number. So I just want to go to an even number. Let's go to 102. All right. And now this will be, enough where I can survive a Fluttermane Choice Specs Timid 252 Moonblast. Now you might say, what if they're modest? They're very rarely modest, right? Because they always want to try and win the speed war with other Fluttermanes, and then they already have the bundle to deal with. So not too many would go modest. There are some, but the most common one right now is the Timid spread, right? And in the tournament, if you can see that they KO you, then you probably know that they're modest, which means they're slower. And you can use that to your advantage in the best of 3, right? In some shape or form. Let's look at the Great Tusk with the amount of EVs I have left. Standard Great Tusk here. And again, I have 156 EVs left. So let's see how much I need to survive a Headlong Rush. This is not bad at all, right? And remember, there's no Intimidate yet. So let's see how much I need. All right. There, 25, 18, 12, 6.3. I can leave it like this, or I can guarantee it. All right, 68, right? This is all I need. Okay. So 68 is all I need. And then I realize, hold up. All right, I already have all the calcs that I need. I can go to the next bump here, right? Because I have 88 EVs left. Where am I going to put this? Let's go to the next bump here, 236. All right, and then you see how you go from 207 to 209. Here's the third benchmark. 8 EVs left. Put them wherever you want. You can have a little bit more speed and have 73 speed instead of 72, or you can add a little bit more defense. I'll just put in defense just because. All right. But yeah, that's our Iron Hand spread. All right. You survive the Choice Specs Moonblast, and you survive the Great Tusk Headlong Rush Adamant 252. No Intimidate necessary with this bulk, right? So it's our bulky Iron Hand spread. Okay, Volcarona. This one's pretty easy. I always like to go to this number of 138. Technically, this will go to this will outspeed Goldengos for the most part, and outspeed some speed creepers because they can go to 137. But I do like this one a lot just because. And here's another reason. 206 divided by 1.5, right? So if you win the speed tie, right, against another Iron Bundle, if you click Icy Wind on their Iron Bundle, and if they don't have a booster energy, for example, they're just timid, 252. After an Icy Wind, the Iron Bundle will drop to 137 speed. And our Volcarona actually outspeeds that by 1 point. So if we have a Volcarona Iron Bundle on the field, if we win that speed tie, Icy Wind goes off, we're going to go next with the Giga Drain. okay, which is actually kind of cool. So that's also why you do this speed tier as well. And now you can invest a little bit more in your bulk. I like to go here, 189. So it's like a super bulky volcarona in terms of HP. Now I have 140 EVs left to play with. I can go, here's the first bump, right? 176. I can leave it there, or I can go to the next one. Another 80 EVs invested. So 116, 185, 187. Yep, here's the next one. And then I just have like a tiny bit of leftover. I can just do this and this. And then 16, let me just like outspeed the other speed creepers and just go like up to this, right? So you can do like this and, you know, just like a fast volcarona that does a lot of offense. Or what you can do is, you know, drop it back to 138, put this to the first bump. You know, you already have a life orb, you have quiver dance. And what you can do is just add more to your physical bulk like this, just so that you have just a little bit more on your defensive side, right? And, you know, there's no way for the opponent to know this, right? In terms of like a tournament spread, right? Because they only have open team sheets. They don't know your EVs. So this is actually important, right? So if you want to go a little bit more bulky, you know, go with this spread and then have some offense. But if you want just like a little bit more damage, right, then you can just do this and have a little bit more speed like this, right? But we'll give you like 2 Pokepastes where you have like this kind of spread. Same with like sylveon stuff, right? So that's the idea there. Among Us, this is the last one. Again, very standard set. I'm still going to go relaxed with 0 speed. And the idea here is I want to survive Roaring Moon acrobatics, right? And because I know that thing is going to be coming in hot, so I want to have something for it, a spread for it. And I'm still going to go with 219 here as always for 2 reasons. 1, puts you out of range of Final Gambit. And 2, it optimizes your regenerator recovery in terms of getting a perfect HP number back when you switch it out. So 1/3 of 219 will give you perfect 73, whereas something like 218 or even like 221 will be like a decimal number, and you don't want that. So we'll save the EVs. So let's go to 236, and again, let's put the Among Us here. And you see, this is how you gotta build your teams, right? You gotta use the damage calc at the end of the day. So 50, all right, 236 investment, relaxed natured, right? Nice little defense boost. And this will also help you against Arcanine stuff, right? Where are you relaxed? Oh yeah, letter R. And then I'm gonna go to Roaring Moon. All right, standard Roaring Moon with the 220, undercutting the speed. I'm gonna remove the booster energy because that's what's gonna boost the acrobatics. Let's just go to none. And the acrobatics with Terra Flying is gonna do a lot of damage, but because I have a relaxed nature, I can probably avoid this. So let's see how much I need to go to avoid this, right? So I'm gonna keep calculating, right? And until I can drop this to exactly what I want, you see I'm almost there. I'm actually gonna probably make it. All right, getting there, 6.2%, right? So I can do something like this, or I can actually guarantee it right here, 196. So let's take a look at that right here. And then from here, I still have 76 EVs. I'm just gonna put in special defense, and that's it, right? And that is our Among Us spread here. And Iron Bundle we already did in the beginning of the video, right? So that's pretty much it, right? This is a general Roaring Moon stuff, you know, with like a couple special attack hitters. They support each other. You know, you have damage mitigation on the physical side with Breaking Swipe and Will-O-Wisp. But the only thing I forgot to do was the Terra stuff, right? So let me do that one more time. So we have Terra Flying here, resist fighting moves. All right, so here's the secret. It's going to be Terra Ground Sylveon, all right? And this is something that I mentioned in the other videos. So here's the thing, right? Terra Fire is the more common one, right? Of course, you're going to be able to resist the steel stuff, right? But we already have the answers for steel with Volcarona, okay? And that's really all we need, because the life orb Volcarona is going to hurt a lot. Goldango and King Gambit is not touching this thing, all right? Now, granted, Sucker Punch is a thing, but ideally, you know, we're faster. We should be able to just blow it out of the water with a Heat Wave. Okay, especially after a Quiver Dance. This guy, you know, you could put Stomping Tantrum, but yeah, we're going with the Terra Ground here, because what are you going to do against Garganical? What are you going to do against another like Iron Hands? Because you don't have the tools yet. And, you know, even Terra Fire Gastrodon is running around now, all right? So Volcarona can't help you there. So we need the ground option, okay? And this is what's going to be able to do it. And, you know, Terra Blast is funny with Sylveon, especially after like a +1, it just does so much damage, right? So this is the secret here. to dealing with the Garganicles and dealing with the other Iron Hand stuff, right? So definitely, give it a try. I'm going to start showcasing a couple battles here that we did in the test account just to show you how the team functions a little bit. And then we'll get you guys out of here. But yeah, let me just put up the paste here. And again, this will be in the video description, of course, as always. But yeah, I think it's pretty solid for what we want the team to do. Pretty much set up Tailwind or set up Volcarona. Use your support options with like Fake Out and Amoonguss Redirection. Icy Wind is another thing. And then just let Sylveon and Volcarona pretty much carry you. Use the Roaring Moon in more of a supporter role, but still putting out offense because, you do have Breaking Swipe options here, right? So let's take a look at a couple battles here and see how the team works. Okay, so right away when I see his team, I notice there's a Gothitelle and there's a Fluttermane, right? And we talked about this in the other tournament recap video. Anytime you see something like this, 100% Perish Trap. Okay, Perish Song Fluttermane is what he has, no doubt about it. Okay, but looking at his team, okay, let's see. Probably some of this is Terra Grass somewhere. I don't know, probably the Volcarona. But, I can see the Dragon Fairy Steel Core. I can see Fire Water Grass here as well. And then he has a Gothitelle for like Fake Out Pressure, Trick Room stuff, trapping things in, clicking, Perish Song, and then, seeing what happens. And there might be like U-turn on both of these Pokemon with like Roaring Moon or Scizor, something like this. But either way, I do, with the exception of Scizor, I do like Sylveon here, and Volcarona actually looks really strong here as well, right? I think both of them are going to do a lot of damage. The Roaring Moon can also help out here by just going for Breaking Swipe damage against the Scizor and the other Roaring Moon, so I do want to bring that. But in the end, the Iron Bundle also looks really good here, just for pressure against his Gastrodon if he doesn't have Terra Fire. Also against his Volcarona, technically, if we can force out something. Maybe he does a Terra on something else that's not grass, and then even the Roaring Moon, right? So ideally, what I'm going to lead here is the Sylveon, and I'm going to lead the Roaring Moon. He goes with the Fluttermane and the Gothitelle. So this is probably Perish Trap, maybe. Who knows? There might be like Fake Out here coming in, and this might be like Fluttermane just going for straight up raw Moonblast. Who knows? Either way, I think my Sylveon's pretty safe to just go for an attack here and just go for a lot of damage. The Roaring Moon, I could switch out, but I don't want to take a Moonblast specs. So I'm just going to protect it turn 1 and see what he's doing. All right, so here's my protect, see what he does. He goes for the Fake Out on the Roaring Moon, so that's cool. All right, Hyper Voice, good damage there. And actually, the Fluttermane goes for Trick Room. So I do want to make 1 point here. At the time, my Sylveon spread was a little different than what I showed in the video. It was, I believe, 76 modest. And you're going to see why I changed it to 156 in a second. But that was good damage, right? Now I have a Throat Spray boost, but it's almost a little out of range. I may have had a low damage roll, but honestly, I'm going for the Hyper Voice. Like, look at this. I could have killed both of these. Definitely the Fluttermane, right? Because this is the thing that's going for an attack here. And I was sad that I did not pick up this KO, which is why I made him go to the next bump in the Modest Nature. I was like, no, man, I can't miss out on this KO. All right, because this is what causes my Roaring Moon to die, okay? My Roaring Moon did not have to die to that. So now we bring in Volcarona. He goes into his own Volcarona, that's fine. He goes for Tickle. I don't know why he did that. I'm still going for Hyper Voice damage, which is, again, really good. We killed the Gothitelle this time, and that means single target Heat Wave on their Volcarona. That's very good damage. So Sylveon has killed 2 Pokemon with no Terra yet, okay? Well, not 2, but 1, and then one of them is at, like, almost no health. All right? Trick Room is still up. There's the Gastrodon. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and bait the Terra Fire. But I should not have done this, technically, right? Because he has no reason to Terra just yet. Okay? This was just my fault. This is just my fault trying to get greedy a little bit. But I wanted to see if he would do it. So I went for the ground Sylveon anyway. He protects Volcarona. That's fine. He goes for Muddy Water. And now I take both. Super effective. But that's okay. I missed the Gastrodon with the Heat Wave, right? I do have Giga Drain, and I can kill it anytime. I just thought maybe he might read my own Giga Drain and go for the Terra Fire option, right? Which is why I went with the ground. Safe assumption. I was covering for both, all right? But now he goes for Terra Water Volcarona, which is interesting enough. I'm going to live this because Gastrodon is just not that good in terms of damage. And he goes for Quivernuts. And the reason why that's a good play is because he knows this is the last turn of Trick Room. So smart play on his Volcarona. But he doesn't realize that I have another Iron Bundle in the back. All right. And we killed his Gastrodon. Of course, we Giga Drain it. So good offense there. And now he just has the Fluttermane. I do have Quick Attack. This is the value of Sylveon. Sylveon, again, picking up another KO, might I add. Sylveon lives the attack, which is great. Here's the Iron Bundle, and that's pretty much it. A little bit more chip damage with Quick Attack. All right, and then here's the Freeze Dry just to kill the Volcarona, right? So that's pretty much it. Okay, and again, the whole idea was just to keep the Iron Bundle on the back until I can just like take advantage of a sash, you know, be able to take one attack if I can, and then just like keep clicking freeze dry and stuff like that. But Sylveon really good. Volcarona also really good. So, you know, again, that was the plan behind the team, right? Unfortunately, Roaring Moon, you know, again, it did not have to die. If Sylveon had better EV spreads at the time of the video, at the time I was doing the battle, probably would have lived. All right, but it did not, so it dropped. That's okay. Next battle, I should say. All right, here's another team here, and you know I like a lot of his options, except there's a jump bluff here. I don't think you want to be using that right now, but you know we're on the test account here. You're not gonna see this on like higher ladder play, but it's still okay. We know what jump bluff is gonna do. It's gonna click tailwind button and die. You know that's pretty much it. But again, this is another game where like it looks like Volcarona is gonna do really well here, as is Sylveon, by the way. So hopefully I can take advantage of that. Okay, but ideally here it is. So I'm gonna go with Iron Hands first. Actually, I want to try and set up a Quiver Dance, just try and fake out the jump bluff, right? And the idea by leading Iron Hands is I know he wants to lead the jump bluff. You don't want to bring this in the back. It's not gonna do anything for you. I'm gonna fake it out and try and go for Heat Wave. I understand there's a Flutter Mane here, but I know I'm gonna live one attack, so I don't care about it. And then Heat Wave just does so much the next turn, right? After a Quiver Dance. So that's my idea. So there's the fake on the jump bluff. There's the Moonblast. I lived that. We have the EV spreads. And there is Leech Seed. So, and I just noticed that, again, he went for an attack. So he probably has the Cobra Cloak. So, unfortunately for me, but that's okay. But then he goes for Leech Seed. That's fine. He goes into Great Tusk. I'm going to switch out and go into Sylveon here. I'm just going to go for the massive Heat Wave. And Great Tusk absolutely just gets dropped. The Assault Vest apparently didn't have it. Does not matter. Just drops. He goes back. There's his Tailwind into King Gambit. That's fine. I'm going to go Terra Ground Sylveon again, trying to catch the King Gambit here. But again, Heat Wave just connects and just removes the King Gambit, right? So, you know, the Terra Ground Sylveon is coming out, right? But the Volcarona is just stealing the show on this team. But yeah, you can see the power behind Life Orb, Quiver Dance, Volcarona, right? But more or less the same idea. Let's look at one last one. Okay, so, you know, Roaring Moon with Talonflame plus Meowscarada, Great Tusk, and Rotom Wash. So that's not a bad fight, right? I can see the Fire Water Grass Core. I can see he has the Roaring Moon here. There's a Steel Fairy here with Tinkaton. Don't use that. That thing is not good. It gets a lot of good support moves like Fake Out and stuff like that, but like overall, there's like better options here. I'd rather see a Flutter Mane on this, right? But he has what he has, so I'm still gonna lead Roaring Moon here. I think Breaking Swipe does a lot to his team because he's got like Talonflame stuff. He's got Meowscarada. You know, I can chip and break Sash. So I do like Breaking Swipe here, but he leads with the Tinkaton here, right? But that's why also I led with the Amoonguss, you know, and I can redirect everything he has, but the Meowscarada doesn't really care for the Amoonguss, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to not click Rage Powder. I'm going to click Spore here, all right? And then the Roaring Moon, I'm going to click Breaking Swipe. It's going to hit the Meowscarada, all right? I don't think the Meowscarada is really doing anything here. Very important. So, you know, Breaking Swipe looks really nice here. And then once the Sash is broken, I can just kill it with like a Throw Trap, right? So that's my thought process here. So he goes with Fake on the Roaring Moon. Interestingly enough, all right, there's the Spore, which means he's going for Trick Room because that's why I went first. Why would you click Trick Room in front of Amoonguss is beside me, but he did it, and that's actually what won me the game. So now he has to switch out into the Great Tusk. Of course, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go into Volcarona. I'm going to try and catch the Meowscarada, but he switched into the Great Tusk anyway. There's his mandatory turn of Sleep. Ground type, but again, Sleep here. And this is just free Heat Wave damage, right? Life Orb, Chip, and there it is. You know, just so much damage. The Great Tusk took half, you know, and again, still more turns of Trick Room. So he goes into Rotom Wash here. That really doesn't matter. I'm just trying to keep my Volcarona healthy, you know, recover any kind of Life Orb chip I might suffer. There's another Heat Wave there, and again, the Great Tusk stays asleep, so that's good for me. And now, just in case he does wake up, I redirect everything, and we take that hit, which is really nice here. And then Hydro Pump, we live it, you know, because Amoonguss is good. And here's my Quiver Dance on the final turn of Trick Room. Because now, without Trick Room, I'm the fastest thing here. Okay, and now I'm just going to go into Iron Bundle, regain my Amoonguss health. Grass type Terra, I already know what's coming from the Rotom. I could have Giga Drained, right? But I don't want the Great Tusk to stay around here. But again, you know, just like Hydro Pump is just not doing anything. Terra Grass Volcarona is just honestly so good here after Quiver Dance with Life Orb Pressure. He has nothing for it whatsoever. Even his own Roaring Moon can't really do anything here because I have the Iron Bundle in position, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go back into the Pokepaste here, and let's show you two versions of the squad. One has like a little bit of bulk with some of the mods, and the other one does not. So let's take a look. Okay, so here's the version that we built, right, with pretty much again the same 6 mons with these EV spreads. But then let me show you the second version, where we went back with Terraflying Acrobatics here, no Breaking Swipe. We still kept Will-O-Wisp, but I still think like version 1 with Breaking Swipe is just better. If you notice, the Sylveon spread is a little bit different. We dropped it to the first bump here, but a little bit more in the defense, in terms of like a little bit more extra defensive bulk, you know, just because I'm losing out on Breaking Swipe. The Iron Hands, we went with Volt Switch and Terra Grass instead, if you just don't want to get slipped by Amoonguss and like Trick Room stuff. Right, but you know, I still think the steel type coverage is important. So you know, if you still like Terra Grass on Iron Hands, you can do that. Or if you like Terra Fire because you don't want to get Will-O-Wisp, it's a toss-up, right? The Volcarona, I took away some special attack investment. I went down to 36 instead of 116 and put more investment in defense, right? And again, this is just because I don't have Breaking Swipe anymore, so I want to have a little bit more defensive bulk on the Sylveon and Volcarona, right? So again, even though this is like a Roaring Moon vid, the true heroes are the Sylveon and the Volcarona. So I'll put both pace, you know, just to give you some ideas, just to try something and experiment. By the way, this should be Terra Steel. I'll adjust that in a second, you know, just for better resistances, better resistance to electric, better resistance to grass. So I'll change that, you know, just before I link it. But yeah, even the Amoonguss, right? This one should be Terra Water, just like the other one. So again, I'll change all of this in the video description. I just realized, you know, I forgot to do it in the video, but that's okay. All right, so yeah, let me know what you think of this Roaring Moon team building guide. Let me know if I gave you some ideas with like Sylveon and Volcarona. And again, if you still like Terra Fire Sylveon, you know, you can still settle for Terra Fire Sylveon. But I think you still gotta respect the Organical and the opposing Iron Hands, right? So yeah, we'll be back with another video in the next one. But again, before I sign you out, again, check out coaching on the channel. Again, if you check the video description, if you want coaching, you know, we have it available. We're almost there to 50 tier subs. Okay, if you want to get a squad ready for Series 2, all right, again, book your session with me, sign up, pay the $10. All right, it's well worth your money. And then again, if you have something already yourself, and you know, if you just want me to look at it and fix it up a little bit, that's a tier 2 sub to the channel. You know, you give me the Pokepaste, I'll adjust it and I give it back to you. No Discord call, you know, so you know, just saving some time for myself. But you know, that's a tier 2 sub to the channel. But if you want me to interact with you one-on-one in a call, you know, just to show you how I do things with the EV spreads and whatnot, tier 3 sub to the channel, right? But yeah, we'll be back in the next one, guys. Now we'll be back, and peace out. Have a good night.